What's up, guys? Another episode, Talking Sobriety with Colin Morrison. I gotta start off by saying all the comments I get from you guys and all the positive stuff means so much to me, and more than anything, you guys reaching out saying that you guys are watching this to try and get, inspiration to change your life around. That alone, you guys need to be very proud of yourself for, making that first step to try and change your life around. I was never that strong. I had to, end up with nothing and literally had to fall into rehab for me to change my life. I never even gave it a shot to try and change my life around. So even if you guys are watching this, even to kind of hear out what this whole sobriety thing is, you guys right off the top are way stronger than I ever was. So this episode, I just really want to kind of talk about the worst day of my life, pretty much in a nutshell. Had many gnarly days. I feel like Cat had 9 lives. I probably had 68 of them. I can't believe I survived through all that stuff. And there's people out there, using or former drug addicts, alcoholics. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's a sick, disgusting, crazy life, and unfortunately I was a very bad drug addict. Anyways, as I was just going to Target to do my weekly shopping, I pass, my local Rite Aid. I don't really even go into that Rite Aid because I have so many bad memories. But anyways, the last stages of my addiction, I was addicted to pills, opiates, crystal meth, heroin, blackout drinker, everything. Mainly my main deal was, Roxy's, snorting those, 80 milligram Oxycontin, and then that led into black tar heroin, smoking it off tinfoil. Did that for a couple years, and that really, I was spending like $150 a day. When I had nothing, I traded everything I had from all my sponsors, every materialistic thing I've ever gained in my life, I traded it all to like the last stages right before I went to rehab. I had absolutely nothing to my name from trading it, and I was still bullshitting my sponsors, saying how good I'm doing, and everybody knew I was really bad. But anyways, I came down to my dad's house. I was up in Temecula. I lost my house out there. I was living in some bedroom at some crazy chick's house out, and feel like you can have made a movie about that whole story. But anyways, I came to my dad's house, for the weekend. I don't know. My dad, we're like best friends, my dad, we have the best relationship. But at this time, he knew I was not the same son that he created, He knew it. It was kind of a bad relationship. Anyways, I spent the night at his house. The whole time I was jacked up. I think I went to Target. I got like 4 cans of Dust Off. And Dust Off, this is where we're going with this. My main drug was opiates, but at this time I went through all my resources. I lied my way to get money off people. I ran out of options. I had no more money. I couldn't trade anything. I wasn't gonna sell my body for the next high. No way. Anyways, I had nothing. So it led me to start taking Dust Off. That's computer cleaner. It's like Whippets. It's the same effect. You just get this out-of-body experience. I remember talking to posters on my wall, just crazy shit. But I could get this drug, computer cleaner, at any Target, Best Buy, anywhere, and it was cheap. But I didn't even have money to buy a $6 can of Dust Off. I was stealing this stuff, and I never steal, but in my addiction, I didn't care. So yeah, I went to Target that night. I got to my dad's house, I just locked myself in the room. I did 4 cans of Dust Off. I was probably talking to myself. It was bad, really bad. So the next morning, I had to go to Metal Militia to go sign my yearly contract. So I left my house, at my dad's house at 8 a.m. I went to that Rite Aid store that I was telling you guys about that I can't even go in. And I stole 2 cans of Dust Off, and that's where this day started. Anyways, I went in my truck, I huffed a whole can, I passed out, I don't know how long. I came to, got in my truck, drove down to Temecula. I made another stop to Best Buy to get a couple more cans of Dust Off. I'd huff them, pass out of my truck in the parking lot. I'd drive. I knew not to take too much so I didn't pass out, even though I very well could have. It was really disgusting, and you guys gotta understand, doing that stuff when I'm driving, all the lives I put in danger, it makes me disgusted. So, it's hard for me to even talk about this. I'm only telling you guys this stuff, to hopefully you guys can see maybe how bad it was for me or whatever. Maybe one of you guys can relate. you know, change your life around. Even though this story is pretty twisted, you know, like dust off, that's the lowest of the low, I feel like. So I got to militia, barely, you know. I was so out of it there. Like I told them I was sick, I had the flu, you know, even though I was just so high off this stuff and, you know, just dope sick, just everything. It was so bad. I was there for about an hour. I bullshitted my way there just saying I was sick. I had to leave. So I signed my contract, got a bunch of goods, and I left. Everybody there at militia, now talking to them sober, they knew how bad I was, you know, and they were like really sad, and I don't know. So I left militia, made like 2 more stops. I remember I went to like a Staples and like a Rite Aid store to get more dust off. It's so crazy, like where my addiction led me to. And I only did this dust off stuff for like the last 2 months of my addiction. In that 2 months, like I ruined more stuff in my life than pretty much any other stage from this stuff. This is just one day. So I ended up in San Fernando Valley, barely. You know, this is like making like 5 stops at different stores to get computer cleaner. Last thing I remember, I was in San Fernando Valley. I went into a Target. I got like 2 cans of dust off, which I stole. Went into my car. I huffed a whole can down. I passed out in my truck. I came to. I remember that. I just remember seeing the Target sign. I remember I have bad dreams about this day. I remember it all very clear. But anyways, I remember going out of Target, making a left. I go through an intersection, and that was it. That was the last thing I remember. I'm sure I was sucking down another can of dust off. The next thing I know it, I wake up. My whole hood is crushed in. I'm bleeding because the airbag hit my sunglasses. I come to, there's 2 people screaming, like, oh my God, like just freaking out. I was in the middle of an intersection, crushed the whole front of my truck in. I slammed into a semi-truck head on. I get out of the truck, I remember looking, I probably hit like 5 or 6 cars, sideswiping them. Anyways, I ended up passing out my truck and my foot was on the gas pedal. And I woke up and my foot was still on the gas pedal. The guy had to come in and shut my ignition off. It was disgusting, you know. I could have easily killed 30 people, wiped out a school of kids, whatever. I'm disgusted from it, you guys, so it's really bad. Anyways, I came to, I remember, you know, they obviously wasn't drunk or anything, so I don't think they maybe thought I was messed up. You know, so they don't know what happened. I sat on the curb, and the first thing I did, instead of thinking about who I might have hurt, I went into my truck. I got the 2 cans of dust off in the Target bag, and I went into Chevron. I huffed some more computer cleaner in the gas station. After everything out 30 feet away, the destruction I caused, everything. People were freaking. Anyways, there's a group of people, now a lot of people started coming, taking pictures. They called 911. Anyways, this is when I started to kind of come to, after just huffing dust off after I got in the car accident. I took the cans of dust off. I ran into this Payless shoe store right by Target. I ran in there like a madman, ran in there not looking for shoes, obviously, and the people that worked there probably were tripping on me. Anyways, I went in the back of the store and I put the cans of dust off in a box of shoes, and I ran out. And I'm sure when I ran out, like, the people were like, what the fuck? And they trailed, like, and found it. Of course, I wasn't thinking, you know, I was just thinking, all right, I'm sure the cops are coming, I need to hide this stuff. Cops come, they do a field sobriety test on me, I pass everything, but the cops knew. They knew I was jacked up, you know, and one of the main cops doing the field sobriety test, he said, listen, you know, I'm like head of the drug department, narc. He's like, yeah, I don't know what you call him, I forgot the name, but anyways, he was the head of the drug department at the police station, so he knew what was up. He's like, listen, buddy, you might have passed this, but I know something's up, so, you know, you're going to jail. He handcuffed me, put me in the back of the cop car, and still in handcuffs in the back of the cop car. And I remember looking outside while I was handcuffed and looking at all the destruction. I saw my truck in the middle of an intersection completely destroyed. A tow truck was there at that time. I saw groups of people, for me sideswiping every car. They came out. It was gnarly. It was something out of a movie. The whole time in that cop car, all I was thinking about was dust off. You know, I was sick. it took over my brain. I couldn't think of anything else. You know, if I would have killed somebody there, that's all I would have thought about. It totally took over my life. You know, and I remember the girl from Payless Shoes, she came out, and I remember her walking to the cop and gave her the 2 cans of dust off. Cop got it, put it in the back of his trunk, took me to the police station. The whole time, you know, I wasn't bummed I was going to jail. Maybe I was happy because I knew I didn't want to live anymore. I just truly wanted to die from my addiction. I didn't know about getting clean, what that whole sobriety thing was about, so that wasn't an option. Anyways, we get to the police department. He takes me in the back. You know, he knew what was up. I told him, you know, I was a dirt bike rider, and I don't know, it was crazy. He never treated me like a criminal at all. He was being so nice, just saying, listen, buddy, you can look at this as a day where you change your life around and you get sober and get back on top, you know, where you were. And it was weird. You know, even to this day, I feel like I really want to reach out to this cop and just tell him where I am today and tell him thank you. He really treated me so good. And really, I don't know, it was crazy. I feel like that day was meant to happen because it led me here, you know, and how I didn't kill anybody, I don't know. And, you know, just really quick, that's the reason I do this. That's the reason I really try to help others, you know, because I feel like I got granted a big gift. So the whole rest of my life, I'm going to be trying to help others and trying to give back what I was given, and that's sobriety. Anyways, I get transferred to Twin Towers Jail in LA, probably one of the most gnarliest jails in LA. I mean, probably in America. And I remember it didn't even faze me. I'm not made for jail. My parents didn't raise me like that. My parents weren't criminals. I was raised very good. I wasn't this kid. Anyways, I go to Twin Towers Jail the whole time. I knew how to handle myself in there, so I was in there for about 4 or 5 days. It was heavy, so crazy. Like, I feel like it talk an hour just what I saw and like what happened in that jail. It was crazy. Anyways, I remember my court date. I got up there in front of the judge and she sentenced me. It was my 3rd DUI. They sentenced me. They gave me a DUI from that, of course, right? My first DUI was when I was 18. I was drinking and driving. My 2nd DUI was like 5 years later. I broke my leg and I was driving around, you know, under the influence of pain pills. This was my 3rd DUI. So 3 DUIs, she sentenced me to 296 days. Some was 290 something days. And I remember when she said that, I didn't even care. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it, you know, because I knew I didn't want to live. What else do I got? You know, I'm done riding. I don't know what I'm gonna do. You know, I'm not gonna get a job at Target or something. I don't know what else to do in my life. I'm a drug addict. That's the only thing that I care about are drugs, you know? So like, I didn't see no other option other than death. I just really wanted to die, for real. So she sends me to 290 something days, and then right before she was going through paperwork, another lady came up and showed her, I guess my first DUI was over 10 years. It was like 10 years and 3 months. I made it by 3 months because every 10 years the first DUI gets expunged, you know, they take it off your record. So first DUI was off my record and that lady caught it, so it was only my 2nd DUI. Anyways, it got dropped to like in the matter of like 15 minutes. It went from almost a year in jail, you know, to about a month. It was like 30 days and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my God, it was crazy. I remember I knew I didn't want to live, but I still know like only 30 days in jail from, you know, almost 300 was a big deal. So I was pumped. I went to jail I stayed in jail for another couple days, and then, you know, I got bailed out from overcrowding. And I remember my dad picked me up and my sister. And it wasn't like they were mad. They knew how gnarly it was. It was just like they were sad because they knew at this point that there's a demon in me, you know, this addiction. Like, it took over me and I couldn't control it. They really saw that time that like I had a problem. They knew I had a problem, but they saw like I couldn't stop. Like, I physically could not stop getting high. There's no way in the world I couldn't. So they were sad, you know. I remember I just started crying like a little kid. I was just crying, just telling my dad I don't want to live anymore. I just don't know what to do in there. Like, you know, my sister, she really helped me. They took me home to my dad's, really quiet ride home, you know, and my sister and my dad, my mom, they looked into rehabs and they found me a rehab in Ventura. Went to my dad's house for the next 3 days, and third day he dropped me off at rehab. You know, it's weird, that drive to rehab. I remember, like I said, me and my dad we're like just best friends, you know, and it was such a quiet ride there. And, you know, it was so sad when I was there in the consultation room before rehab. You know, my dad, we don't know much about rehab or any of this stuff. He said, you know, he was pumped because he thought, you know, you take your kid to rehab, you're going to come out 100%. And they said, you know, my dad asked, what's the statistic if, you know, Colin doing this, you know, we're paying a lot of money, like he's going to be good. And they said, you know, it's only 3% that people, you know, stay clean after rehab. And I remember my dad just kind of broke down, you know, started like crying because he thought he was going to lose his son from this drug addiction stuff, you know. So my dad just, you know, gave me a kiss and said, you know, good luck, and we love you. And he left. And I remember the first night in rehab, I felt like, you know, this is the stuff I remember seeing in movies. How did I end up? And so many things were going on in my head, like that car crash, everything the relationships I burnt, the trouble I was in, just everything, my whole life, like I had it all. I remember when I was a kid, all I dreamt about was becoming a pro dirt bike rider, and I did it. And I totally ruined my whole career from partying and drugs. And so many things were going on in my head in that first day of rehab. But, you know, over time, I was in detox for a week, and then I went to rehab. And I'm not going to talk about it a lot, but I stayed in rehab. That's when my life started. I realized I woke up like the 5th day, starting to feel a little bit better, realizing I'm waking up and I'm not using. I don't need anything. Keep going. My life, I'm starting to smile again. I'm starting to get all my senses back, starting to laugh, started to live again. I was like reborn there, truly reborn. Anyways, I graduated rehab. My parents came, my sister, and it was like they saw their son, their brother again. I was reborn. I was a different person. Anyways, I told my parents I want to stay here. You know, I don't want to come home. Really had nowhere to go, so I stayed in sober living for another 3 months, and that's where my story begins. The new me. Life was amazing. Every day I woke up and it felt like Christmas, and I tell you guys that now, like, and I'm still waking up like it's Christmas. It's called sobriety. I wake up and I don't need anything. I don't need a bong rip. I don't need to go snort a Roxy. I don't need to go chase the dragon. I don't need to go get a bottle of vodka. I wake up and I just breathe and I smile and I just, whatever the day has for me. And that's how it is. Sobriety's amazing. That day changed my life. You know, and doing that, all the lives I put in danger, you know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if there's a mother out there watching this, looking at me disgusted, you know. I'm trying my hardest to give back, and I don't know. I got my life back. You know, that's just one day of my life. You know, you guys wouldn't believe the other stuff. Truly wouldn't believe. There's a couple stories I won't even tell you guys. It was so bad. You know, and I got my life back. I made sobriety #1. I went to that rehab. I listened to what they said. I did the work. I made sobriety #1. Every day I make sobriety #1. You got to do that, because if you think you got this thing, you know, you're one day you're gonna go out, you're gonna have one sip of beer, it's gonna end. You know, go to meetings, look into rehab. I tell you guys that all the time. Look into rehab. There's a 1-800 number in the credits after this. It's not as bad as you think. It was actually, rehab was like some of the most fun times I've ever had in my life, you know, because that's where you kind of experience this whole new life that you don't think you can have. Because in my addiction, there's no way I could have ever dreamt to think I could wake up and not use and have a smile on my face and feel great. You know, those times when you're running out of opiates and you're dope sick and you'd rather shoot yourself in the face, you know, like, you don't have to have those problems again. You literally wake up. I wake up and I feel better than any drug I've ever had in my life. And I've done every type of drug there is, tenfold. You know, I feel amazing. There's no more hangovers. There's no more, I gotta like sell this or I gotta do this to get my next sack. You know, now I got money. I just buy whatever I see on TV or whatever I like, you know. Go buy new trucks, buying a house this year, just whatever. all this money, you know, spending like 150 bucks a day. Think of that. You add that up every day plus working, like, I'm doing good right now. You guys can get it too. If somebody's out there right now dealing with addiction and you guys think you can't have it, you don't think you can do it, I'm telling you, you can. I'm not saying I've done more stuff than any of you guys. You guys know drug addicts are gnarly, but I've been there, I've lived it, and I've done it. All right? You can get your life back. So please, you guys, I'm nobody special. I'm not getting paid to do this. I'm filming this from my iPhone. I'm gonna go inside, I'm gonna edit it on iMovie, I'm gonna upload it to YouTube. It's nothing special. I'm just telling all my stories and trying to get as much information out to you guys, because I know if there's one person out there that I'm helping, then I'll keep doing this. You can get your life back. Make sobriety number one. Look into rehab, go to meetings, and change your life and get your life back. Life is so short, it's so precious, it's so rad. Like, you can do anything. So let's make today the day, or let's make tomorrow, no later than tomorrow. Go look into a AA meeting, NA meeting, whatever kind of meeting. Get in the support system, get into sobriety, turn your life around, and let's live a rad life, you guys. Fuck drugs, alcohol, waste of time. I'm over that stuff. Sobriety's the way to go. And I feel like I can talk forever, but I'm out. Thank you guys so much. And yeah, I appreciate all the comments and all the nice stuff you guys say. But thank you guys, all right? Later.